Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 2. That is what we were going to be talking about in this video. A full breakdown and review of the episode. But before we get into anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, hit that noti bell. Alright, Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 2, full breakdown and review. So this episode starts out actually with a flashback, and it comes from Rick Flag Sr. So we get the events of him being named the new head of Argus, and with that, he gets some new clearances. And right away, we see him with John Economos, and he is asking for the files that he was previously denied for, and that is the files on Rick Flag's death, his son, Rick Flag Jr. And right away, John Economos knows that this is not a good thing. He obviously doesn't want Rick Flag Sr. to know about this because he knows Peacemaker killed his son. But he has no option but to give him those files. So all John can do is say, hey, look, we were under the orders of Amanda Waller. So everyone who acted in this was doing so under orders, and they were doing what they thought was right and best for everyone. And again, Rick Flag Sr. really doesn't care about that. He just wants the files. And then we see the flashbacks from the Suicide Squad as Rick Flag Sr. is reading through those. We obviously know what happens. Peacemaker ends up killing his son. And now that creates a vendetta for Rick Flag Sr. And even so much so that he doesn't care that Peacemaker is kind of renowned as a hero for stopping the butterfly incident. And he still wants to go after Peacemaker, and he even says the Peacemaker is still a problem, and that's why he has John Economos monitoring him, and he wants any chance he has of catching Peacemaker slipping up to either take him to prison or take him down. He wants that opportunity. And we kind of progress through the episode, and we resume in now present day, and we pick up with the events from last episode, Peacemaker versus Peacemaker, and the unfortunate death of the Otherworld Peacemaker. We see our version of Peacemaker kind of being really frantic, freaking out about it, trying to hide the body, and then he gets on the phone and says, hey, do you still have those bone saws? I don't know about any of you, but I knew right away there's only one person he could call in that situation that would have that stuff, and that's Adrian Chase. So that really made me excited because I love any moment that Peacemaker and Adrian Chase are going to end up doing some crazy, wacky stuff together. Adrian Chase is definitely my favorite character in this whole series, and it kind of, after that, we get some additional stories about Adebayo and the things going on with her relationship and the difficulties with that since everything's happened with Argus, and then we get a little bit with Hardcore and just the difficulty she's going through because she doesn't see herself as a victim, and we get that woman who goes up to her thinking that she's in an abusive relationship, which realistically she is, but it's with herself because she's putting herself in these situations to get into brawls at a bar so she can just fight people because she's so angry. And I think that's why she really flips out on this lady, because she, at the end of the day, deep down knows, like, hey, no one is doing this to me. I'm doing it to myself. And now you're just making a whole scene about it. But then we kind of move on from there. We get the scene of Peacemaker back in his house after the events of the orgy, and then Adrian Chase comes in and obviously sees the aftermath of the orgy. We get that funny moment where Adrian is visibly upset that he wasn't invited, and we get the funny banter where Peacemaker says, hey, you don't even like sex or anything like that, and Adrian, again, this is why I love this character, he confirms that he's not a real big fan of it, but he likes it because it's a chance to bond with his best friend, which again, words cannot express how much I enjoy this character, how comical he is, and I'm glad that the actor pretty much confirmed he is not going to go through any sort of character change, because we don't need him to. He is wonderful and perfect how he is, in my opinion. He's great. But then we go to that little pocket dimension, and Peacemaker and Adrian start to cut up the Otherworld Peacemaker so that they could incinerate him. And we see the moment where Peacemaker is visibly struggling with it, and then you go to Adrian Chase, and he's like having the time of his life doing it, thinking it's so much fun, because he's doing it with his best friend. They're just doing wacky stuff together, And you really get the sense that's all he cares about is having a really fun, wacky time with his best friend. He doesn't care what they do. And you get that funny moment when the alien comes in and Adrian asks who it is. You get the banter with Peacemaker. And again, I can't say enough how much I enjoy their banter. Then we progress through the episode and we see that John Economos is still monitoring Peacemaker, but Argus has sent someone else in, and this is likely because he doesn't trust John Economos, Rick Flag Sr. that is, because he knows at some point he is close to Peacemaker, so there might be some loyalty that still lies with Peacemaker. And I don't remember the name of this character, but right off the bat, I could tell that one of two things about this character. Either we are supposed to really dislike him, or he is someone pretending to be this Argus agent. Just the certain mannerisms and the certain things that he said really didn't sit well with me and made me think that he has to be someone else. Obviously, the easiest thing would be if he's somehow Martian Manhunter, because obviously a shapeshifter, that would make sense. We do get those moments where Rick Flag Sr. and the woman that's working with him calls that guy and says, hey, once John Economos leaves, we need you to check out Peacemaker's house with a team. And they kind of go from there. Eagly has that funny moment where I really thought Eagly just killed all of them, but I guess he just hurt them and chased them off. Would have been funny if Eagly just killed all of them. For elite military people, just getting taken down by an eagle is hilarious. We get that funny moment, actually a little bit before this, where he says, I have bird blindness. That's amusing, that's comical, that is so stupid and funny. Again, some people aren't a big fan of certain things James Gunn does from a humor standpoint. I think a lot of it hits, and especially in a series like this, I think it's really great, and it really made me laugh. It was ridiculous and silly, not being able to tell the difference between a duck and a blue jay. That's just utter nonsense and so funny, and it fits so well into this episode and into this series. And then we obviously have the 11th Street kids back together on the rooftop after all those people were maimed by Eagly. They do end up being okay, but we have everyone just vibing out together, having a good time. Peacemaker, you could tell a lot of stuff is still on his mind. He tries to talk to Hardcourt, and it doesn't really go well. She kind of deflects what she's feeling back onto him and says she isn't as messed up as he is. And that's, again, she doesn't understand what she's fully saying, because the only person who knows what's really going on with him is Adrian Chase, because no one knows that he killed the other version of himself. And you could really see how much that's eating away at him. So much so that after these moments on the rooftop and them all having a good time together, Peacemaker goes into the phone and he texts the other version of Hardcourt, and it doesn't go through. So then he makes a decision. He decides to go into the other world. He opens the door and he hears the other version of his dad and his brother, who obviously are still alive, and they're talking about their version of Peacemaker being missing for longer, maybe he's using again, all these different things. And then we see on the phone the text message from Hardcourt come back. We see the hey, and then typing, and then the broken heart. So obviously this is going to progress and go into something in this episode, and you can really tell that obviously from the preview that they are going to play with the idea of him pretending to be that other world's Peacemaker. Now, I do think this is only going to last for so long, as he's obviously not going to have the same memories as that other Peacemaker. Different events will have unfolded in a very different way for that world's Peacemaker than they have for us. Obviously, his brother and father are still alive, so he's not going to remember a lot of probably really important things. And when the ramifications come out that he is not their Peacemaker, they're undoubtedly going to find out what happened to their version of Peacemaker. And that is going to create this dynamic of the father and the brother now coming after Peacemaker. And I really think that's going to be the end game of this season. I don't think it's going to be Rick Flag Sr. I personally think the things with Rick Flag Sr. are going to unfold probably episode 5 or 6. and you're going to have some ramifications, but obviously Peacemaker's not going to die. Rick Flag Sr., it's confirmed he is not going to die because he will be in future projects. I think they will have some sort of reconciliation, not to the extent where, hey, we're friends and we're cool now, I trust you, but it will be something where I understand you did what you had to do, but I still hate you type of thing. It won't be a working relationship or anything like that. It'll be, hey, if I really need something, then I'll reach out to you type of relationship. But I really think the series is setting up for Peacemaker having to take down his dad again, but not only that, now having to take down his older brother, who is a renowned hero in that world. So it is going to be a tremendous challenge for him, obviously physically, but also emotionally. This is something we saw Peacemaker struggle with in season 1. What happened to his brother, and now he's going to have to come to terms with possibly having to face off against that brother and his father once again, and maybe end up killing both of them after killing the other version of himself. And that's one thing I really do love about Peacemaker, this character of Peacemaker, is unlike with a lot of heroes, we do see they go through tragedy and they do go through some type of depression and some type of reconciliation eventually. This character of Peacemaker really does draw it out and show what it would be like if this was a real person. What if he actually did go through all of this stuff? You could even see when he was washing off the blood from the other version of Peacemaker, how much it damaged him. And then when he was looking through the phone and seeing all those photos, it really, really got to him. And I feel like that'll be capped off if it ends up that he has to face off against the other version of his brother and his dad. And again, just the ramifications of that emotionally and dealing with that. And then the other characters, what's Harcourt gonna do when she realizes, wow, you killed the person that I was still in love with? Although you are Peacemaker, you're not the Peacemaker I loved. And just seeing how all the different characters deal with that and the different dynamics that happen because of that, I'm really, really excited for. But what do all of you think? How do you think the series is going to conclude? Do you think my predictions are going to come true as far as Peacemaker facing off against his brother and father? And what did you think of the episode? Did you think it was good? I personally really enjoyed it, but let me know what all of you think down in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, like this video, subscribe to the page, click that noti bell, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.